back in there. All right, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but in case there's any confusion, I am the guy you see on YouTube known as JP Videos. I know that was up in the air if that was actually me or not, but yes. Sometimes I get mistaken for who was that? Bruce Willis, Vin Diesel, Goldberg. But yes, it is JP Videos.
Bruce Willis doesn't have a beard.
Sometimes it does. But you can call me J or JP. Those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, whatever's good for you.
Okay,
this is my first meetup event and only meetup event for this year. And my first ride-along meetup event, so I'm glad to have you guys a part of it and that you're able to make it out today. I know doing a ride-along event was kind of questionable if people are going to be able to attend because not everyone has bikes or scooters or whatever. He did show up just to say hello, but he doesn't have a bike with him today, but I do appreciate you coming out.
Dan's got a...
Rent it. No.
Dan's got a spare.
If anyone has not been on this trail, there is a lot to see, especially related to railroading history. And RJ does get credit for suggesting this location today because I wanted to do a rail trail and didn't know what to do. And even though I've been here before, this place just slipped my mind. And he's like, "How about Ironton?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." So
I had a epiphany.
Yeah. Once in a while, they
Really?
work out. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be starting off going in this direction. Back here is going to be an old boxcar, an abandoned train bridge. And then we're going to be backtracking past the kilns, going in that direction. There's a caboose and a whole bunch of other stuff. Certain locations we're going to be stopping at to give people an opportunity to check it out, take pictures. All I ask is that when we do stop, pull off the trail or at least park to one side to leave the trail open for others. If we're going too slow or too fast, you guys are welcome to go at your own pace if you want to, or if you don't want to do the entire route, which is going to be around 8 miles round trip. You don't have to stick with us, but at least let me know that you're leaving if you do so. There is no place to get food or drink along the way. The only thing close is the sheets a few hundred yards off the one section of trail, but there are porta-john bathrooms in various locations, so just plan accordingly if you have to go.
Just yell, "I gotta pee!"
Yeah, or go behind a tree, or hold on to a tree if you have to. I've done that before. Anything else? Any questions from anyone?
Can we do like introductions since some of us might not know each other or anything?
Why would we do that? That makes sense.
Well, I know you guys, but just for my reference, I know there's some other YouTubers here that I haven't met yet. So.
Yeah, we've done that in the past, so we can just go around and just say your name. If you don't have a channel, you just say the area that you're from. But I'll start off. JP Videos.
RJ78 Productions from over yonder.
I'm Jessica. I have an Instagram. It's Keep Exploring Nature.
Okay.
Matt, we live in Chester County.
Way over yonder.
Yeah, down below me.
Dan from the Altoona area.
Way over yonder.
Over yonder. Steve, Anthracite Railroad Historical Society. I don't have a YouTube video.
Chris from Tamaqua, exploring with the coal cracker.
I'm just Eric.
The other
Live in Tamaqua.
The other coal
So
cracker.
let me get this right. Your first name is Jess, last name Eric?
Can we put him out in the hallway?
Oh no. You just need to stay up that way.
Jamie.
All right, Jamie Macon from right up the road in Northampton, Pennsylvania.
Yep, and I'm Randy with Emerald Sound Productions, the one that you see the most in, other than him, in RJ's
I'm the
videos,
one that
so.
gave him his 1,000.
You want to get him?
Yep. What?
I'm Dudgeon from Reading. I do have a YouTube channel, but it's not an outdoors channel. It's a gaming channel.
Okay.
This will be
Fair
our first
enough.
video.
Cool, thank you.
All right, so is everyone about ready to go?
Yep.
Okay.
All of us weirdos.
3 sections. That same thing with the kilns there. They have like a class to learn about them. Okay.
May have passed the first area. Oh, it's supposed to be a boxcar back here.
Back there,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's still there. Okay.
All right, guys, we're at our first stop on this tour. That's the new bridge there. Got a nice mix of scooters and bicycles on this. I am on my trusty e-bike today. And we're going to venture back here to look at this old boxcar in the woods. And I remember back in my early days of YouTube, I had tried to come back here to see it in the winter. And I was about halfway to it, and a fox stood up in this field. Stared at me. It was not aggressive, but I hightailed it out of here. So this time of year, it's pretty grown in, as you can see. But it's a wooden box car. The trucks are long gone. You can see it's seen better days. It's got a steel door. That's holding up okay. Get some nature's carpet here.
Bumblebee tuna.
Hello. Remember our friend Coal Cracker? So I've been riding this trail for years, guys, and I just discovered something new via this new sign that they put up that Randy's looking at. This used to be the Lehigh Valley Railroad on this stretch of the Ironton Trail, and there used to be a train station right here. I never knew that. You can see on this photo right here, you are here. That's the old bridge. That bridge has been replaced in recent years. And there used to be a covered bridge across the river there way back when.
But if you guys want to go up here, we could. If you want to stay on the ground, take pictures, welcome to. It's up to you guys. All you have to do is just go up the side here, and you can walk across this part if you want to. So this is the old C&J.
Alright, so I didn't get the camera out and started early enough, but as Jay was explaining to us, this is the old CNJ Railroad Bridge. As I mentioned before, we're on the former Lehigh Valley Railroad side of the river. The other side was the CNJ. And I know the LNE, which is Lehigh and New England, ran through here. But I'm not sure exactly where. We got some guys that are going to go climb up here to try to cross the bridge. I am not a climber. I'm not even going to try it. I'll just watch their videos and enjoy them.
It ran that way.
It ran that way, both ways. Which way?
Partially this
Partially.
way. Over.
All right, the directions are clear as mud now, guys. We know where we're going, right?
Up, down, left, right.
Sounds like RJ was describing a derailment. Were you describing a derailment?
Penn Central style, baby.
There you go. Alright guys, so I just split off from the group because they were up climbing on the old rail bridge, and I heard a horn south of here on the Norfolk Southern line, which runs on the other side of the river. That's the former CNJ line. Hopefully you can see it beyond the bridge. They rarely run daytime trains here anymore, but sometimes on a Sunday they do. And I'm going to see if we can catch it for you guys. So that's heading north. That'll actually be heading up towards the Palmerton area, Weisport and Jim Thorpe and beyond. Alright guys, so after that pleasant little diversion, I caught back up with the group. And we're down at this old bridge abutment. Unfortunately, there's a lot of graffiti. This was an old, I believe, rail bridge. This could have been the LNE. I'm not sure. It's built in 1906. This was the LNE.
RJ said the bridge we were at up there, it curved around. There was a siding here that came across, went over here and went into the yard.
Okay. Alright, so you heard Randy on the history of this bridge. And this is the abutment I always like here. And I've photographed a lot of my bikes and stuff over the years here. Got this neat mural of a little red caboose, a gondola, we could pretend that's the Lehigh Gorge bike train, and a blue steam engine. We'll go ahead and pretend that's 425. So you get this abutment on this side, and I wish they'd do something on the other side to make it a mural so it's not graffiti, but it is what it is right now. We're still on the eastern edge of the loop of the Ironton Rail Trail. Again, this portion was the former Lehigh Valley Railroad. And if you keep going south down the trail, you'll come to the Beery Yard, which is now just a grass field, but it used to be a rail yard with multiple sidings. And that's where the trail, the loop portion of the trail, curves, hooks to the west, and becomes the Ironton Trail, or becomes the Ironton Railroad at that point.
I got other stuff.
That's how National Park Service puts it. Giving the cars, the engines, the historic structures. So they're very powerful. Yeah.
So instead of doing the full loop, because we're focusing really on the points of interest on this ride, we found ourselves back at the cement kilns and Sailor Park. We're actually in Coplay, PA right now. And Coplay, PA is considered the birthplace of Portland cement. And I saw on one of the signs at one point Lehigh Valley made 70% of the Portland cement in this country. And a lot of cement plants have shut down, but there's still a lot going. Now these obviously haven't run. I think it said they shut down in 1904. These are over 100 years old. And it says they're the world's only remaining continuous firing vertical cement kilns. They were constructed in 1892. And they are fenced off right now because, as you can see, they're not doing so good, guys. And it's a race against time for them to preserve these. You know, I feel bad. I filmed this, I think, back in the winter of 2019 to 2020, and for some reason I never got around to editing it. And I'm gonna have to go back to that footage, because walking around the back here, I think a lot of that brick has fallen off since I was last here. That looks really concerning. Hopefully they're going to be able to save these in time. These are a true historic treasure, and I just think they're really cool. I enjoy seeing them every time I ride this trail. Alright, let's head towards the caboose.
Snake's over here like, just leave me alone.
So this is what I like. Like, I can use this throttle to give me a start on a rough surface like that. And then once I'm ready to not need the throttle, I just pedal. And like, because we're going to go uphill here, I'll bump it up to pedal assist too.
And this also too, as you go normal in sport mode, so I could control the power.
I like that, yeah, depending on the kind of riding you're doing. Whether you're chasing a train or just doing something leisurely. Now that's a good bike for chasing trains. RJ, stop! Oh. So this was recently restored a couple years ago, guys. This used to be a phone booth for the train crews. They call it a block phone booth. And the section, we're now on the northern part of the loop here. This here was the Ironton Railroad. And this was back before they had radios and cell phones and all the stuff we have now. So this was basically how they would communicate, I guess, with the control towers and whatever else on the railroad. And they've got a wire running up to the telegraph poles. You've seen these telegraph poles, particularly when I ride the Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway. And this one's still got all of its insulators. I believe they actually put that up a couple of years ago. But that's what these booths, that's what would connect to those telegraph poles that you see along the old railroads.
Probably is made because they're metal ties.
Alright, so I know we're all eager to go over there and see the caboose. But before we do that, we got one other little thing to look at. And this is the old trolley line, the streetcar that used to run through Coplay and then into Northampton and then in the other direction, I believe, down to Allentown. And they've got a sample remnant of the track. But then they've also got, this was a legit bridge abutment where the tracks used to go over. And you can see the ties and the tracks still up there. It's a very light gauge rail compared to the bigger trains we ride. And there used to be a photo. I'll have to look in my archive to see if I have a photo of this before it got all faded and weathered. I probably do. Question is whether I can find it. But yeah, there would have been a trolley crossing right here, which I take it as meaning that the Ironton Railroad probably ran further below they built this hill up pretty steep for the trail so that we get a road crossing here. But if I had to guess, and this is just a guess, I could be wrong, I think there was probably a bridge here where the road ran over the railroad, because you would never have a train run on a hill as steep as this trail goes. Alright guys, and you know what's cool about doing this group tour today is I actually stop and take the time to look at things I normally wouldn't. And it turns out the answer was right here, right in front of us. Where this bridge right here, that would have been the road behind me. This road would have gone over this bridge, and the Ironton Railroad would have ridden on the rails below it. Alright, so it's not going to surprise you to know that this is my absolute favorite spot on the entire Ironton Rail Trail, would it? Would that be a surprise? Of course not. And it says it was built at the Reading, PA shops for the Reading Railroad in August of 1924, and it was sold to the Ironton Railroad in March of 1953. It's Ironton number 6, and you might recognize that it's the same style as the caboose that we rode up in Lehigh Gorge. And we also looked at another one of these recently at the Phillipsburg Railroad Festival, and you might recall that one was the same style, but it had the wood siding, and that was because in World War II they needed the metal for the war effort. But this was one made before that. It's actually made in the Depression era, and it used metal siding. A little concerning, guys. I'm not sure why we have a fire truck ahead. Alright, so we've crossed under Route 145, and we're back out to an old rail car from the Ironton Railroad. They have slowly but surely been working on fixing this up over the years. And I believe this had been sitting here as some kind of office for the rail yard. Believe it or not, what you're looking at here used to be a rail yard. I know the tracks used to go back into this direction, which is now woods. And there's some buildings further back there. We'll see those soon. I do see the emergency vehicle leaving, so hopefully everything's okay.
I think it's both passenger and freight, the way it looks. Oh, watch, Jamie. Hey,
Yeah.
Jamie.
What?
To your left, bunch of bees.
Okay, thank you.
None of bees. Hey, watch for bees.
As you can see, this is being well guarded by bees. That's why we got everybody hanging back here. Alright, so that wasn't a fire truck, that was a water rescue vehicle. Still not sure what's going on. E-bikes working well for me today, and we're out by one of these buildings that the old rail yard would have serviced. Alright, so we've come just a little further down, and what we have here would have been the old firehouse. Now, this was not back when you had traditional fire trucks. It's back when everything was just pulled with a horse. You're back in 1891. You see this is a stone structure. Beautiful stone walls. Look at the masonry work on this, guys. Beautiful stone walls. Then you got an open ceiling here. I have never been able to figure this mystery out. Every time I see it, it's something I wonder about. So everybody's curious about this bridge. It's something I've wondered about for years. And they've decided to wander down here, so I'm going to join them.
Yeah, for sure. That's like a support for it.
So we're looking up and down Coplay Creek here, and yet we're still no closer to figuring out what the point of this was. That's the former railroad bridge we were just on. That's now the Ironton Rail Trail.
As to what this is built here.
Was it?
Yep. There's an abutment here against the land, so it's not collapsed. But it slopes down. It almost resembles like a boat ramp, but it doesn't make sense. It's not really an area for boats, you know.
I wonder if over time, through storms and erosion, that this creek had changed its path, and maybe at one point it was used to go over it. Now it didn't.
Maybe. I mean, that bridge is always here for the water source, you know, so
yeah.
It may have changed shape, but I think it's still in the general
Looks like
vicinity.
it's going downhill.
It is. It's actually made to go down.
They said slope down like a boat ramp.
Well, Jay and RJ have figured out that this was definitely built in place. This is not collapsed or something. It was actually deliberately put here, but we cannot come up with a reason why it would be. The best theory I've heard is that maybe at some point this creek changed course, and then maybe this used to serve a purpose and no longer does.
Well, with what you're sitting on too, I'm wondering if that's
That's
something
what
to do with
happened at my
monitoring.
father-in-law's.
Beyond that would be trail going into where the
So I've seen this building for years, and I always thought this was a curiosity. I never knew a lot about it until a recent video that Jay and RJ were out here riding scooters doing some filming, and they were smarter than me. They read one of the signs explaining the sights in the area, and this building used to be a boxcar. So needless to say, the trucks are gone, but if you look underneath it, you can see the original steel chassis for a boxcar. It looks like they've reinforced it with some additional trusses, and they've redone the siding to something more modern. This would have been a rail spur here. Actually, I'll walk up there in a minute. You can still see some of the old rails. But once you know that's a boxcar, you can't really unsee it. So that was a pretty cool discovery. And then if you walk up here, you can actually see some of the old rails still embedded in the ground. All right, everybody ready? Let's go. How did that work out, RJ?
Worked out pretty good, except the DPU disconnected.
Oh no. Yeah, I thought we lost the pressure in the air brakes. I'll have to talk to that engineer. And we're riding along the Reading Railroad today, guys. Actually, the Ironton Railroad with the Reading diesel ahead of me. Crazy Reading engineer.
It's a placebo wall.
Somebody picked from the wrong vendor bin that day.
This peak would normally get much higher than that. This thing's full, it's not big.
It never ends out here.
This is one of the quarries. There's a leak over here and
Right over the fence here. There's a steel bridge where the rail line went straight. So we'll go back to that, take a look at that quick.
Alright, so RJ's pointed the way to the ruins of a building, or a building, I'm not sure what, but it just shows no matter how many times you go somewhere, there can still be more to find. I've never been up this little path. It's not really rideable, so we have to park and walk. Probably would be something better to come back in the winter where everything's not as overgrown.
There's remains right over here, but I'm still trying to locate where the kilns are because I was only here one time. So. I was like, ooh, ooh. It doesn't go anywhere.
Of course, I'm really not sure what any of this is, so it's hard to give you information, but there's a foundation there. This really would be better to see in the winter, guys. There's something back here in the woods. I think we are going to come back in the winter sometime. Take a better look then. Alright guys, so here's a more intact building. It says it was built in 1891. This bird watch. Sure that's not the purpose of it. Don't know what the building originally was though. I've seen this building many times on the trail. This is the first time I've ever pulled over to look at it. It says it's under surveillance. I'm actually happy to see that because I like to see these old ruins preserved. And you got too many irresponsible people who would do the opposite.